Well, welcome everybody to our Power Skills for Tech webinar with English for IT. We have Anna Gandrabura here. She's a kind of like a power lady here in Miami Tech. She goes to a lot of events. She has her own startup. She helps people really perfect their English skills, especially people who work in the IT field. So she's going to be doing a webinar today about certain power skills in technology that can help you land your first role or advance in your tech career, and also talk a little bit about English for IT and what she offers there. So I'm going to pass it over to her, and you guys are in good hands. Thanks for coming, Anna.
Hi, Alyssa. Thank you very much for inviting me and for the intro. Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Gandrabura, and today I am happy to share with you everything I know about power skills and hopefully everything you should know about power skills and how to leverage power skills to build a successful career in tech. All right, so let me share my screen here and let's get started. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Let me probably make it full screen here. Yep, you can see it, I think, full screen now. Okay, right, so talking about power skills that you need for a successful career in tech today. And let me first of all introduce myself. I see some of the familiar faces here. Some people are from my community. And for those who don't know me, I am an EdTech entrepreneur with 15 years of experience. I am the founder of English for IT. English for IT is a quite unique language learning provider. We cater specifically to people who work in tech or who would like to work in tech and who are non-native English speakers. I'm also a social media influencer. I have an expert blog on teaching English that actually, this is an old number, it's 500,000 now. You can follow me to check it out or share with your friends who don't speak English as their native language. I am a leadership coach, public speaker. I also host a podcast that is called Power Skills for Success. So you can imagine how important this topic for me is and how actually it is important for the world in general. I'm originally from Ukraine, but I've been in Miami for 3 years now. So yeah, I turn it into a Miami local at this point. Guys, say hi in the chat. You can introduce yourself and tell me where you are from so that I can gauge the audience and adapt my speech today to you to make it even like more, to make it more useful to the audience that we have here. So say hi in the chat and let us know where you come from. And while you're introducing yourself in the chat, I want to share with you agenda. So we're going to talk about power skills today, but also you might be familiar with terms such as soft skills and people skills. So I'm going to talk about the differences between power skills, soft skills, and people skills. We're going to cover 6 most important power skills for your successful career in tech. We're going to talk about why power skills are more important than hard skills and whether they are more important than hard skills. I'm going to talk about AI as well. AI prompting as the new power skill of the future. And also I will share my top tips how to practice power skills, how to improve power skills. First of all, let me know, please, in the chat, if you have ever heard of the term power skills. Have you ever heard of the term power skills or not? Or are you more familiar with soft skills? Let's start with that. Power skills or soft skills? Never heard of power skills. Okay. How about soft skills? Anyone heard of soft skills? Soft skills, yes. Okay, so let me then get this straight. What are power skills? Well, technically, when we talk about power skills, these are the skills that make you stand out from the crowd. And I really like this quotation. I quoted a Harvard Business Review where they said that as the impact of AI and disruptive technology grows, candidates, aka employees, workers who can perform tasks that machine machines cannot, are becoming more valuable. So technically, think about what skills make you different from machines, right? These are your power skills. And in other words, we can say that power skills are soft skills. It's just another name for soft skills, right? As you can see in the picture here, this is all the same. Power skills, soft skills, people skills, interpersonal skills. Some people also call them interpersonal skills. It just, I feel like the term soft skills, I mean, it's almost, sometimes I feel like the term soft skills is almost like something that people don't like, right? Because maybe because of the word soft, people think it's not important. And it's kind of difficult to get your message across that the soft skills are important. That's why we started implementing the new term power skills. But technically, power skills is the new soft skills, right? But what are soft skills? Let's first of all, let's start from the ground, from scratch here. Soft skills are your skills that they're also known as interpersonal skills, right? These are the skills that you need in order to interact with other people, in order to communicate with other people, right? Let's say you are a software engineer. Your hard skill is coding, right? What are soft skills for you? Well, soft skills, all the other skills that you need in order to be part of the team, in order to communicate with the team, in order to, I don't know, launch a project, in order to talk to a client. These are all your soft skills, right? As opposed to hard skills. And like I said, in other words, like soft skills is a more traditional name for your abilities that are not job specific, right? Like I said, coding is not a soft skill, it's your hard skill. Everything else pretty much that involves, especially that involves communication, is your soft skill. Now, the power skill is a new term, like I said, for soft skills. And like I said, because the name power skills, yeah, it's just like more impactful and makes a big difference when people hear it. Because like I said, a lot of times when you tell people you need to work on your soft skills, and just because the name is soft, right? People are like, oh, this is not important for me. Hard skills are more important for me. To believe it or not, I've heard it so many times from actually software engineers. They were like, Anna, we don't really care about soft skills. We are great coders. Well, this is great. However, being a great coder is only 50% of the job done, right? Because at the end of the day, you never code like alone, right? I mean, you can be coding alone, but usually you work together. There is peer programming. You're part of the team. You have to interact with other people. You have to interact with clients. And at the end of the, also like at the end of the day, you have to apply and get the job first. And that requires a lot of power skills right there. And I will talk about that as well. So technically, you know, when we refer to soft skills as power skills, our brain understands that this is very important, unlike when we just say soft skills. That's why I think in recent years, people and the community, people have started using power skills more often than soft skills. Also, you might hear the term people skills. Pretty much the same thing. People skills are also called interpersonal skills, and this is technically another example of a power skill, right? So having people skills means you have this power skills. This is your ability to interact with other people and to maintain relationships with other people, and to be actually very good at this. So hopefully now I cleared this out for you a little bit, right? So power skills, soft skills, people skills, all the same thing, just different terms here. Like I said, you want whichever you want to use, whichever term you want to use, you just have to understand that all of them are like, it's just very important to develop if you want to succeed in your career. Because like I said, back to my example, you know, software engineers that would come to me and tell me like, we don't need soft skills, we're good at hard skills. But then, you know, every time I talk to a hiring manager or a CEO of the company, and I ask them like, I ask them this question. So imagine you have two candidates. One of them is a rock star developer, like great hard skills, but really poor soft skills. And another candidate is a middle or junior developer, but super, super strong hard skills. I mean, soft skills, right? So their hard skills are not as strong as the other candidates, but their soft skills are much high on a higher level. And you know what? Every hiring manager and every CEO I asked this question, they all said we would rather work with someone with higher level of soft skills, because hard skills is like it's just the matter of practice, right? So you can technically become better at coding, or learn, and not just become better at coding. You can just you can learn new technology for the new project, right? And it's going to be faster than becoming a more effective communicator, or developing your emotional intelligence, or developing adaptability, learning how to react to feedback, how to give feedback, and how to ask for feedback. That is why, please, I'm happy you're here, and I'm happy you're watching this, because it means that you are on the right track to become a more wanted employee, a more wanted candidate for your next role. And 6 power skills that you need to build a successful career. Now, how did I pick those power skills, the 6 power skills? Well, first of all, like World Economic Forum, they always release the report where they give data on what companies are looking for in a successful candidate. So these power skills are really sought after by top tech companies, right? And so there's like statistics out there, and of course, like just generally, looking around, like working with people and seeing what, like me being as a founder, I also work with the team, and I can tell exactly what the company needs, what skills the company needs, businesses need for employees to have to make this business grow and thrive. So here are these top power skills, and tell me what you think, and tell me whether you are like, these power skills are on a good level for you. So first of all, it's of course good communication. So you need to be able to communicate effectively, to get your message across, right? To communicate in different kinds of situations. Number 2 is coachability. Now, what is coachability? Coachability, in other words, is learnability. It's your ability to learn. It's your ability to be a lifelong learner and to be a fast learner. I know the phrase, I mean, the term itself, fast learner, is kind of like basic, I would say, but still, every employer wants you to learn fast, because we live in the times of like things changing so fast. It's a ever evolving world, very fast paced, and there's no time to wait. And especially when you need to, I don't know, learn a new tech, or get adapted with a new project. So everyone, like every company, wants you to be a fast learner. So you have to leverage that. I mean, you have to leverage this knowledge and see whether you're a fast learner or not, or what can you do to become a fast learner. Now, coachability is also a skill that like, what is it, coachability, right? A lot of times when I say this word, people think about a coach, right? Like you need to get a coach. You don't have to have a coach to practice coachability. What you need to do, you just need to be open to learning new things. And I will talk about coachability more today. Feedback. Now, feedback, this is the skill of receiving feedback. I mean, you have to learn proper ways to receive feedback, to give feedback, and to ask for feedback. Emotional intelligence. Yeah, this is your ability to understand your emotions, understand emotions of other people, and be able to control your emotions and react to other people's emotions appropriately. Cultural affinity. Now, we live in the world without any borders, right? So like we work with the international workforce, right? Our teams usually, it's not just a American team, right? This is people from all over the world. So we have to be aware of these cultural nuances when we communicate with international teams, because being culturally aware, of where our colleagues or clients come from will help us not to make mistakes, and again, be an effective communicator, be productive at what we do, and just enjoy what we do on the daily basis. And another skill is leadership and teamwork. Again, do you really need to be a leader if you don't want to be a manager? Now, this is a good question. Tell me what you think. Do you like, because a lot of people think that leadership skill is only for people who want to become leaders, right? Like, I don't know, see top level executives and things like that. But do you really have to be a manager to be a leader? Or do you have to be a leader to be a manager? What do you think? Feel free to share in the chat. I want to hear from you. But also, by the way, as we go here, I want you to ask me questions. You can drop your questions in the chat. I will be I'm answering the questions as we go or at the end of our webinar. But we have plenty of time, so I'll be happy to answer the questions as we go. Alrighty, so let's talk about this illustration that I found, which is like really interesting here. You can see how your social skills or power skills and your math skills, your hard skills, your engineering skills go hand in hand, and how your salary grows accordingly, right? So the more you improve your math, like your hard skills, right, and the more you improve your social skills, the higher your salary grows. And it has been like this for decades now. So the trend is not going any way down. That is why one more proof that hard skills are soft skills are equally important, just like hard skills, in case you were doubting. And another thing, talking about the future of AI prompting, I personally believe that AI prompting is the new power skill that everyone has to practice. Recently, I had a conversation with the VP of HR at one of the biggest tech companies here in Miami, and I actually had him on my podcast, Power Skills for Success. I'll share the links with you in a minute here. And he said that he asked his workforce, he asked his team how often they use AI to do work tasks. And he said that I want my team to use to use ChatGPT or the equivalent on the daily basis, because like if they don't do this, they're missing out. Like, why not leverage new tech that we already have? Like, why do you want to pretend that it's not there, it doesn't exist? Of course, AI has it's not perfect, right? But we have to use it every day so that we can learn, so that we can get accustomed to it, and this will make us better. And I personally can tell, the professional who leverages new tech on the daily basis is definitely more advanced than the professional who is avoiding or rejecting this new technology. That is why, honestly, I believe that AI is the power skill of the future. That's why in my latest course, Power Skills for Tech, I did add a few lessons on how to become great at AI prompting, how to start working with your ChatGPT or similar, so that you can actually solve your work tasks and your personal tasks on the daily basis. I personally use ChatGPT on the daily basis, like all day long. What about you guys? Do you use ChatGPT on the daily basis or not? Yes, awesome. Yes, absolutely. Great. I love this. Yeah. Alrighty. Now I would like to talk about good communication, and let's see what is necessary to become a better communicator. And I see some answers here in the chat regarding leadership. I think leadership skills are necessary to be a manager, but also needed by every position, because you're still a leader to someone and responsible for something. I'll talk about this a little bit more when I talk more about leadership, but you're definitely right. You are a leader to someone. This someone first is you. You are a leader. You have to be able to be a leader to yourself, right? And to be, so what does leadership means? It means responsibility, right? So you have to be responsible for yourself first. We'll talk about this more, but yeah, that's really a good call. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, leadership is needed even if we don't want to manage people. Absolutely. We need leadership, first of all, to manage ourselves, because if we are unable to manage ourselves, that's not good. That's why leadership skill is really important, even if you're not striving to become a manager. So let's talk about good communication. All right. So when we talk about good communication, we have to think about all the channels of communication that we are faced with during the day, right? So in the modern day world, you can you will have to deal with emails, Slack chats, video calls, in-person meetings, like group meetings, one-on-one meetings, networking events, all of this, right? And you have to learn to be able to communicate and get your message across effectively and in a concise way as well, right? And also you have to remember that you need to adapt your tone and your style of communication based on the channel of communication or based on the situation, right? So for example, if you're writing an email, your message is going to be different than, writing a Slack message. Again, another thing, if you are chatting with, let's say, a boomer or a millennial, right? And Gen Z, your style, your tone might be different too. Not might be, it will be different too. That's why you have to be aware, because right now we are faced, like the workforce is very, is very diverse, right? We have Gen Z, we have millennials, we have boomers, and we all communicate differently. And we have to be actually aware, because sometimes I hear people are not happy with the way their colleague is addressing them, but at the end of the day, probably both of the in this situation, you are not aware that that person comes from a different background, and you come from different background. That's why in order to have this smooth communication and without conflicts, right, we have to be very mindful and understanding of who we work with and where we communicate, and adapt our style of communication for that. And here is the first mistake that I'd like usually to address, right? Because we need it all the time, whether it's a job interview or a networking event, or this is your first day at work and you need to introduce yourself, right? So you need to introduce yourself, and this is what usually happens. You start introducing yourself and it's too long. You're speaking, it's just like too much. You're saying too many words, right? Sometimes I ask people, like, how long do you think your introduction should be? And sometimes I hear like crazy answers. 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I'm like, how is it possible? No one is going to listen to you for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes, right? Let's imagine you are in a job interview and they ask you, well, so tell me about yourself. And you start telling a story for like 5 or 10 minutes. No, their hiring manager is going to fall asleep and remember nothing of what you said. So probably you are not even pitching yourself. It's not an elevator pitch. It's an introduction, right? And what's the difference here? What's the difference between an introduction and elevator pitch? Well, here's the thing. When you introduce yourself, you technically don't have any specific structure, right? You can just like say pretty much anything. You can talk about your hobbies, you can talk about your family. And this is actually the mistake that a lot of people make, right? They start talking about everything whenever they hear the question, tell me about yourself. And honestly, I believe, this is my personal observation, the question, tell me about yourself, is the hardest question. Although it's supposed to be the easiest, right? Because you are sure to know who you are and you are sure to know what you can tell about yourself. But when you're asked this question, when you're not prepared, you just like don't know what to say. Here is my strategy for you, and feel free to use this formula next time you need to pitch yourself, to introduce yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to introduce yourself telling a story with no structure. You need to be very strategic because you want to make an impact with your speech, right? So it has to be an elevator pitch. So you will need to say only 4 sentences, luckily, right? And these 4 sentences can be pretty much the same for any situation, or you can easily change them. So step number 1 in sentence number 1, you say who you are. Step number 2, you explain what you do. Step number 3, you add an attention grabbing hook. It is something that will will make the other person interested in you. And step number 4, you end with a call to action. Let's see this formula in action. So here's my example. Let's see if it's gonna be impactful here. So imagine we met at a networking event and I am introducing myself. So this is what I'm gonna say. Hi, I'm Anna and I specialize in coaching people on power skills. So this is me saying who I am and what I do. My clients typically see a 20% increase in their salary after they start working with me. If you're looking to build a successful career in tech, I'd love to help. Now, this is a hook. The hook is the attention grabbing hook. My clients typically get 20% increase. Did it sound like a hook for you? I think so. For most people, it would sound like it. And then finally, I end with a call to action and I say, are you on LinkedIn? Let's connect. Are you on LinkedIn? Let's connect. So that's the pitch that you want to structure for yourself. By the way, if you are on LinkedIn, me too, we can connect. And yeah, you can see if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me. Now, I want you to practice. I want you to use a similar structure and I want you to create your elevator pitch. How about that? Let's do it. You can just share 4 sentences in the chat saying who you are, explaining what you do, adding an attention grabbing hook, and ending it with the call to action. Let's do it, because I want this webinar to be not only educational but also practical for you. So let's practice right here, and you will leave this webinar with the ready to go pitch for your networking event, where you can meet a potential employer or a client, or I don't know, a person who can be useful for you in your career. So please tailor your pitch and share it in the chat. Oops, there you go. Yeah, let's do it. And then we talk about coachability and feedback.
I think it's like kind of hard to, you want it to be perfect, so you have to think about it a little bit.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you need more time for it, you can definitely do it after the webinar. Just screenshot the formula and yeah, practice. Practice, and like I said, okay, we have some answer here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be just what it is. That's what it is. So we have Joanne. I'm Joanne. I'm a technical program manager. I help large corporations manage large IT complex projects. If you know any organizations looking to get help managing complex projects, I'll be happy to help. Very good. Joanne, the only thing I would end with a call to action. Like, what do you want to exchange business cards? Do you want to connect on LinkedIn, or do you want to get an email? So you have to be like very specific. That's the key thing that people don't take into account about a personal elevator pitch when they introduce yourself. After you did all this introduction, you need to tell the person what you want now. Yeah, you want them to refer you or to refer someone they know to you, but how are they going to be able to do it? So end with do you have a card, or here is my card, or let's connect on LinkedIn, or any other means of connection you wanna make here. Alberto, I'm a data analyst consultant with over 20 years of experience in data management, enterprise architecture, big data technologies. In my current role, I'm the data strategist focal lead for Americas region. My current position areas. Okay, this is a little bit too lengthy, Alberto. I would definitely make it shorter because even reading this, I'm already lost. But when you're saying this, it's just like too much information that is not making any difference in the moment of speaking. So I would definitely make it just one sentence. I'm Alberto, and this is what I do. One sentence. You don't need this like a lot of terms. Like I said, even if you talk to someone from the same industry and you're going to use so much, so many terms, right? So much information, they will be lost. Even though they know all these words, they know all these terms. If you're going to be talking to someone who is not in your very niche space, they will be completely lost. By the way, that's another thing. If when you're introducing yourself, you can be super technical, and this is fine if you know that another person is super technical. And when I say super technical, for example, I'm technical too, but I'm not going to be super technical in a very specific field, right? I'm going to be technical like in general. And the same here. If you know, like you're talking to another tech person, you work in blockchain and they work in blockchain. Yeah, you can be technical. You're going to be on the same page. But let's say you work in blockchain and somebody else works in data, right? Data analytics. You're going to be, you both in tech, but different tech. So you're going to be a little bit, confused. That's why really you have to be very strategic about this and make it simple, make it more simple. And like I said, just 4 sentences. You don't need to retell your resume when you introduce yourself. Also, you don't need to retell your resume when you introduce yourself in a job interview, when they tell me about yourself. You just need these 4 sentences, but it's your job to decide which 4 sentences you want to say here, right? So what exactly you want to mention about yourself? Because at the end of the day, again, when we talk about the job interview, right, you are applying for a particular position at a particular company, and this company is looking for a particular thing or for particular things, right? So whenever you introduce yourself, you want to say exactly what they want to hear. That's why your sentence, what you do, will be different depending on the job, depending on the role you're applying for, because you want to match with the company's expectations there. So that's what it is. But like I said, be very mindful about the language, right? Be very mindful about how technical your speech is, right? How much data, how much information you're saying. Because like I said, if this is a verbal introduction, you have to remember that our ear is not capable of like comprehending so much information in such a short span of time and like actually comprehend it and like store it, right? That's why you want to make it easier for another person to hear what you say and to actually comprehend it, because like if this is too complex, right, their brain is just gonna pass, right? Their brain is gonna be like, it's just too difficult. I'm gonna just space for a little bit and then come back. So this is what usually happens when we receive too complex information, our brain spaces and then we come back to reality. But this is not what you want if this is your time to shine, time to introduce yourself. All right, so please practice. Okay, we have one more, Miguel. I'm Miguel, iOS software engineer. I can help you create mobile solutions to engage user experience. We can connect on LinkedIn. Yeah, short and sweet. Yeah, this is great for networking. Miguel, if you want to spice it up a little bit, so this is what I would change here. I would add an attention-grabbing hook. So you can create mobile solution to engage a user experience. This is great. But how about you add maybe some interesting fact about your maybe previous projects or some statistics, or what is the like, for example, you created an app for a client and they were able to increase their sales by a certain number, right? Before that, they had a website, but when you created an app for them, their sales went up like 20 or 30%. So if you add something like this, some interesting fact or some statistics, some data here, it will definitely be impactful and people will remember you, right? Because it's going to be different. It's going to make you stand out. All right, so you can practice after the webinar. Now let's talk about coachability and feedback. Coachability and feedback, like I already said, this is your ability to learn something, and this is your ability to be a lifelong learner, right? And tell me, what helps us become a lifelong learner? What do we need? What do we need to practice, or what should we be like in order to be a lifelong learner, in order to be coachable? What do you think? What is this one interesting skill that we need to possess in order to be a lifelong learner? Who, like, think about this. When do we learn the most? When do we learn the most? We learn the most when we are kids, because we don't know anything. So, and everything is interesting and we are curious about everything. So the key word is curiosity, right? So curiosity, this is when we learn the most, when we are curious. I think when we get older, it's not, I think, I know, I mean, we all know, when we get older, we tend to lose this skill of curiosity, right? Because we think that we know enough, we're adults, like we know enough, just generally. But every time when you think that you know enough or you know a lot, you are going down, right? You're not progressing, you're regressing. Like, this is definitely not a good thing to think, right, about yourself. So I believe that us adults, we have to practice curiosity, and even like we have to practice radical curiosity, right? Whenever we don't know something, we remember, okay, I'm curious, I can't go to sleep, I have to find out this information. I have to Google it. I have to chat GPT it. I don't know. I have to read about it. We have to be curious, right? This is what we need to do. Practicing radical curiosity on the daily basis, like making it your lifestyle, will make you a more coachable person, and definitely a faster learner. Because like I said, this is just what we become when we grow older, right? But here, in order to call ourselves coachable and in order to become faster learners, we have to remember ourselves being kids and just asking these questions. Why is the sky blue? Why is the water wet? And things like that, right? And try to look for answers and find these answers. Yeah, and coachability also stands for your ability to implement feedback, right? To implement feedback and to ask for feedback. Now, how many times or have you ever actually asked your manager to give you feedback on what you can improve about your work? Or do you ever ask? Let me put it this way. When was the last time you came up to your manager, your team lead, and you said, can you give me feedback on, like, on my performance? I would like to improve. Has it ever happened? Have you ever done it? Because this is something that you should definitely try doing. This will help you, first of all, understand where you stand, what your manager or your job wants you to do, how they see you. And believe it or not, when you ask your management such questions, they will be pleasantly surprised, because they will see that you are coachable. You want to learn, because why are you asking them for feedback? Because you want to get this feedback and you want to act on it. And it shows that you are working on yourself. You want to make yourself a better professional, which is great for the company, right? So this is something that you should definitely start doing. Yeah, so you can ask for feedback. However, be careful how you ask for feedback, right? For example, this is the example of one of the ways to ask for feedback. Give me feedback on what needs to be changed or improved, please. Kind regards. Can you spot any issues with this way of asking for feedback? Pretty obvious, right? It's not really welcoming. Doesn't sound super welcoming, right? So yeah, it's vague, and it's like it's almost like you don't want to ask for it, but you asking for it. Right. So here, what you want, you don't want to sound kind of rude-ish, right? Because it, to me, it sounds a little bit impolite. Like I said, it's like you want feedback, but at the same time, it sounds like you're forced to ask for it. And because, like, the way you ask for feedback might not get you the feedback, the actionable feedback you want. And there's another thing that you need to remember and keep into account when asking for feedback. Be prepared for constructive feedback, right? Be prepared to hear what you might not like or you don't want to hear. But remember, things that you don't like are the most valuable things to hear when it comes to feedback. Because why would you want to hear only positive feedback? How can positive feedback help you get better? No, positive feedback is it's a great lotion for our ego, right? And we need that because positive feedback is appreciation. This is great, but positive feedback serves a different role. It serves our ego, and like it's the way to express appreciation, right? When we talk about negative feedback, constructive negative feedback, this is actually the most valuable thing for your growth, for your learnability, right? For you to learn something about yourself and make yourself better. That is why be prepared and actually seek constructive negative feedback. Because like I said, constructive negative feedback will give you information to make yourself better. Yeah. And that's what you need. Because if you are going to your manager and you ask them for feedback and you're only expecting to hear good things, that's not good. And even if they start telling you like everything's great, keep asking. Don't stop there. Keep asking. And the way you ask is going to be, it will make a difference, right? So instead of telling, give me feedback on what needs to be improved, the person might not be, I don't know, they might not have anything to say on the spot right there. So you can say, first of all, you can make it sounding more like nicer. You can say, I would love to hear feedback on what needs to be improved. This is very common phrase for asking feedback, but this is not my favorite. My favorite is going to be the second one. Could you tell me 2 things you liked and 2 things that could be improved? Now here, you are giving them the permission to criticize you, right? To criticize you. Again, when we're talking about giving constructive negative feedback, it shouldn't be regarded as criticism, right? But again, hopefully the person you're speaking with, they know how to deliver negative feedback properly. So it's going to be constructive. So it's going to be helpful for you here. So when you ask someone, tell me 2 things that could be improved, you're giving them permission to give you constructive negative feedback, and they will be up for it. Because usually, especially again, it depends on the culture. For example, in Ukraine, we don't have this, but like in the United States, people are very careful giving negative feedback unless you ask them for it, unless you give them permission. So even if you ask for feedback, people might not be open to give you negative feedback because this is, they don't want to hurt your feelings, right? So you have to show them that you're ready for it, and this is really what you need, and this is something that will help you. And you can actually explain that. Like I said, if you're asking for feedback and they're telling you everything is great, you can just like keep asking them like, oh, is there like one thing, like think about it, and get this feedback. So this is really important. So tell me please in the chat whether you're going to ask your manager or maybe your mentor or someone for some constructive feedback. Are you going to do this or not? Yes, okay, definitely do it. Definitely do it, because this will help you a lot. Let's talk about emotional intelligence now as your power skill. Now, like I said, emotional intelligence, this is your ability to understand your emotions, to understand emotions of other people, to be able to control your emotions, to react properly, and to just generally maintain all this like relationship, emotional relationship with other people. Emotional intelligence also stands for your self-awareness. Like I said, you are self-aware of who you are, where you are, what you do, what you don't do in certain situations, and empathy. Empathy meaning you understand other people, like where they're coming from, right? Why are they acting this way? Why are they feeling this way? So this is all empathy. Now, emotional intelligence is super, super important. And like I said, top executives and companies are looking for people with high level of emotional intelligence, right? They want their employees to be emotional intelligent, meaning they want their employees to be able to control their emotions, to identify areas of growth, to identify areas of success or failure. Yeah, they want their employees to relate to emotions of other people, because at the end of the day, no manager or no CEO wants to come home and check their email and I don't know, after the long working day, receive an email from an employee who is after having a glass of wine or something, sends this really nasty email talking about the team or somebody on the team, right? So this is not emotionally intelligent at all. And I'm not talking about like email, it can happen in person. So definitely, we're all emotional creatures. But this is the thing, because we're all emotional creatures, we have to learn to understand our emotions and where they come from. That is why practicing this self-awareness, practicing empathy, this is something that is mandatory for everyone, and not only for work setting, right? We're talking about power skills for tech, but these are the skills that will help you live happier lives in general, right? So just imagine, when you are a more emotionally intelligent person, it is easier for you to deal with people in general, right? But I think most importantly, it's easier for you to deal with yourself, right? Like I said earlier, we need to learn how to manage ourselves, right? How to understand ourselves, because that's the problem. And then life gets easier when we understand ourselves. Life gets easier when we need to deal with other people. Now, how to be more emotionally intelligent? Well, I think one of the skills that you can start practicing right away is practicing active listening, right? When you are in a conversation, being fully concentrated on what you're saying and what other people are saying is crucial, right? So this is what people are missing these days even more and more, because every time there's always, like, for example, this thing in the way, right? Whenever you're talking to someone, you are on your phone or checking on messages or something like that. Or let's say you are on Zoom meeting and you're all over the place on your screen, right? Like you're switching tabs, like reading chats and things like that. That is not cool. And that is not emotionally intelligent. And you are definitely missing out on active listening, because you're giving that person zero attention, and that's not helping you build rapport between you, right? Or sometimes, another example of not actively listening is when you interrupt the person, right? Or I don't know, you just not paying attention to what they're saying. You're asking them to repeat what they said multiple times, that is not cool. And saying phrases like, can you explain that again? Sorry, I wasn't listening. I mean, sometimes it's good, you can get distracted, but like if you do this all the time, this is not good. This is not effective communication. This is not emotionally intelligent. This is not good. People are not going to see you as a true professional here. That's I can tell you for sure. Now, let me give an example of how active listening active listening affects your relationships with people. So when in the conversation, when you give the other person your full attention, they feel heard and they feel special. And by our nature, by nature, human beings are very selfish, right? We want to be the center of attention. We like attention. And in the conversation, when we see and feel, when we feel that the other person is giving us attention, that's like, I'm gonna love this person, right? This is like, I want to build relationships with this person, I want to help them, and I want to be friends, right? So that's how active listening, how it is important and how it can help you build rapport and relationships with people. That is why do not neglect the skill of active listening, and start practicing it right away. So here's like a mental, like, I'm giving you all these tips, like start practicing this, start practicing that. And you might think, oh my God, this is like so easy. I already knew this, like active listening. I'm already good at this. But you know what? First of all, like, I don't think so, because we all need to practice these skills just as regularly as we have to go to the gym in order to keep fit. It's not like one time I learned something and it means I know it. No, you have to go to a mental gym, right? Just like you go to a real gym, you have to go to a mental gym. So you have to give yourself, and here's a like practice that I do for myself, for my mental gym. Every time I want to improve a certain mental skill, like let's say active listening, I just have to give myself daily reminders. Whenever the situation comes up, I have to give myself daily reminders. Okay, this is what I do, or this is what I think, or this is what I say. For example, let's say you want to practice more positive self-talk, right? I mean, let's say you are looking for your first job in tech or a new job in tech, and it's not going really well. So you have a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of negative emotions. Has it ever happened to you? Like, just think about it. Or like you're doing a course, a boot camp, and like you're overwhelmed, right? You have a job, and like you have your studies, so you feel overwhelmed, and like you have a lot of like negative thoughts, and you want to change this, right? And every time you start thinking, you start having that negative thought, you remind yourself, okay, I have decided not to go down this rabbit hole, and I'm just gonna change this negative thought into a positive thought. And you give your brain a command to change your negative thought into a positive thought, and that's a daily constant reminder, right? And it's not gonna be super fast, like one time you said that and that's it. So the same with active listening, right? So you have to give your brain commands to do that, right? Because just knowing this is great, but you have to put it in practice. And this is what I want you to do. Practice doing this. I mean, whenever you are in a conversation with someone, remind yourself to listen actively. Remind yourself to put your phone away. Remind yourself to listen actively and actually hearing what the person is saying, responding with some questions, responding with some comments, and making sure when they are speaking, they are the center of attention. When you are speaking, you'll be the center of attention. Right. Any questions about this? I'm ready to talk about cultural affinity. One of my favorite actually topics, because like I said, in tech, you will end up working with people coming from all walks of life, from different cultures, from different countries, and people living in the States usually come from other parts of the world, right? So we all carry our like cultural background, and it definitely influences the way we communicate, and definitely influences the way we see other people and we carry ourselves. And there is a great book that I love, and I will share it with you. It's called The Culture Map, that separates the world into two culture groups: high context cultures and low context cultures. Have you ever heard about this terminology or not? So this is very interesting because it's going to help you if you can identify which like which country belongs to which culture. You will definitely, it will be definitely easier for you to understand why people from this culture, from this country, behave or communicate in a certain way. So low context cultures, these are the cultures that consider good communication very simple. For them, simple communication is great. Yeah. And when they deliver messages, their messages are very very precise, very simple, very clear, and they usually deliver their message to the face. Like, for example, if I want something, I just come and tell you I want something, right? High context cultures are quite the opposite, because good communication for a high context culture is very sophisticated, very metaphoric, very nuanced, very layered. These are the cultures that when they communicate, they kind of sort of like read between the lines, you know? They don't tell you exactly what they want. They say it in the way that it is implied, and you have to understand it, right? And yeah, so like the messages are often implied instead of just expressing at face value. And yeah, so that's the difference. The United States is the most low context culture in the world, and you can guess why, right? It's the youngest country. It's the most diverse and multicultural country, and in order to be able to live in this melting pot, right, people had to communicate, to learn to communicate very in a very simple way. Yeah, so very clearly and in a simple way, because like everyone came from different parts of the world, and yeah, we all speak the same language. However, you know, for example, British English, the way British speak is different from the way Americans speak, because British English is more, British way of communication is more nuanced, right? For example, think about British humor, right? Understatement. We don't use understatement in the United States so much, right? But in Great Britain, they use understatement for everything. So this is kind of like this nuanced language. I mean, Great Britain is still, is still a low context culture, but it's not as low context as the United States. And you can see here, the US, Netherlands, Australia, Canada, Germany, and then you can see, more countries going towards high context culture. You can see that Latin American countries are like right in the middle, but I would say going towards high context cultures more. This is also the way to, this is something to take into account when you communicate with someone from Latin American culture, right? Are they going to be telling you what they think and feel in your face, or are they going to say like some nuanced message and layered message? And interestingly enough, Asian countries are the most high context cultures. They are the countries, usually the countries with the longest history, and people have been living together for a long time. So definitely they can communicate, reading and speaking between the lines. When talking about cultures, high context and low context cultures, I like to give an example of marriage, right? So imagine you've been married for 1 year, and imagine you've been married for 25 years, right? Can you understand your spouse without them saying anything, right? Just by looking at their expression, right? When it's been a year, it's probably hard. You still have to communicate a lot, right? To speak. But when it's been 25 years, you can you can read between the lines, right? What's happening there? You can understand what is implied. So that's what you need to take into account. So this is a really cool illustration to give you an idea of what you should expect from different cultures. And there is actually like, for example, why do you need to think about culture? Let me give you an example for like small talk, right? In American culture, small talk is everything. No meeting starts without small talk, even though some people hate it here, but it's still a norm, right? Because technically, whenever you are in the beginning of the meeting, you want to break the ice, you want to chat about something. This is really natural, but not all cultures are like this. Some cultures don't make small talk at all. For example, I come from Ukrainian culture. It's not a big thing there. It's getting bigger in tech now because we the whole world is kind of adapting to the English speaking culture, because at the end of the day we speak English, no, regardless where we come from, when we are on the multicultural team. But for example, Eastern Europeans are not really big on small talk, right? And that's not something that is there. That is why, for example, if you are in a meeting with someone from Eastern Europe, you might think that they are rude because they are not making any attempt to make small talk, right? And you may be like, okay, these people are weird. And again, if you are from Eastern Europe or from the culture that doesn't make small talk, you have to be aware that you might come across as rude if you're not trying to make small talk or respond to people asking you questions. So that's something to take into account. By the way, guys, do you like making small talk? Are you good at making small talk? I'm curious. Let me know. Flavia loves it. Okay, I see this summed up. I don't like it, but I know it's necessary. Okay. If you want to unmute yourself and talk, feel free to do it. I see somebody raise the hand. Sometimes. Well, look, if you want to be a more effective communicator, I would definitely recommend, like Elisa said, I don't like it, but I know it's necessary. Yeah, I would definitely recommend learning to do it because it just it will help you, like I said, to break the ice in certain situations, make create rapport, and just generally have this opportunity to have a conversation, like the tweet that I'm sharing here on the screen, right? So your ability to handle a simple social task like small talk actually tells a lot about you, right? So if you can't maintain this small social interaction with someone, right? Making small talk with someone, then how are you going to be able to make a more serious conversation, right? To have a more serious conversation, to build trust, right? And technically, small talk is not only just, is not like, sometimes we can say that small talk is just a meaningless conversation, right? Just a waste of time. But it depends how you're gonna handle it. It depends what you're gonna say. Yeah, and here's a good question. Do you think small talk is fake? Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It depends what you believe in. So I believe that it can be fake if you make it fake, right? If you are genuinely, like I just said about active listening, if you're genuinely interested in the other person, instead of perceiving small talk as a fake, unnecessary, and meaningless conversation just to kill 2 minutes at the beginning of the meeting, then it's going to be fake. But if you perceive it as a genuine conversation, you're asking a genuine question you're interested in, or you want to know, then it's going to be different. But yes, sometimes, like you said, I feel like sometimes I'm not really interested, but I'm faking. Yeah, if that's the case, then it's going to be fake. And believe it or not, the other person will feel it too, because we even though we might kind of make it super nice and fun, but people feel everything. Like I said, we are emotional creatures. We feel everything, especially people with a high level of emotional intelligence. They will feel that you're faking it, which is going to be fine. They will understand, okay, this is small talk, this is not super important. But I would say that I would definitely try to change that, just to change that to the point that it doesn't happen too often with you, that you have to fake it. I'm afraid, Adnel says, I'm afraid I might overshare during small talk and have that used against me. Well, this is a very interesting comment. You need to remember that small talk is not about sharing something very personal. It's not about sharing a lot, right? It's more, you have to, okay, here is an activity for you and for all of you guys. If you're afraid to overshare or like, to go deep into like your discussions during small talk, make a list of 5 topics that you are comfortable to talk about during small talk, right? Then you can narrow it down to 3 topics because you are not likely to remember these 5 topics. So narrow it down to 3 topics, and just whenever you want to make small talk, make small talk around these topics, right? One of my favorite is and actually this will never be used against you unless you want to share some personal detail. One of my favorite small talk topic that doesn't require you to prepare, no preparation time needed. Whenever you see something around you, let's say you are in a physical space with the person, or let's say you are online and the person is on camera, you can always make a comment about what you see around them, right? You can say like, wow, this is a great picture on your wall, and then you like make a comment about the picture, and again the person will love it because you're making comment about them, right? If you are, let's say, together like in a physical space, you can again make a comment about interior or something like something that you see around, and that's not going to be sharing personal information. But yeah, you just like I said, you have to prepare a little bit at the beginning, and then you will feel like how deep like you want to go, what you want to say. Okay, let's talk about leadership. Let me oh yeah, so guys, this is the book I mentioned. Oops. This is the book I mentioned, The Culture Map by Erin Mayer. It's a great book. Definitely, I highly recommend reading this book for everyone who works with multicultural teams and want to learn more about different cultures. So my sincere recommendation. It was a game changer for me. Now let's talk about leadership and teamwork. So leadership and teamwork, like I said, you don't have to be a manager to be a leader, because first of all, we have to learn how to be leaders for ourselves, like to ourselves. So leading by example, but not like leading other people or managing other people, right? So we have to learn to be responsible for ourselves, right? And for what we have to do. And this is what leadership is, first of all, right? Being responsible, practicing that responsibility and self-leadership. And here I want you to look at my illustration here. Self-leadership, right, consists of self-regulation, self-motivation, and self-awareness. Like I said, everything starts with you first, and then everyone else and everything else, right? So self-leadership is about responsibility, right? It's about your responsibility. Are you a responsible person? Can I rely on you on doing your tasks, right? Or the team, can the team rely on you? Like that's about leadership for you, first of all. So before you can lead other people, before you can manage other people, you have to learn to manage yourself, right? Then it's self-leadership. It's about making the right choices for yourself and then for other people, right? And it's about self-leadership. It's about your potential, your true potential. What's your potential in this on this project or for this job, right? So definitely everyone has to practice leadership, but first of all, it's self-leadership. And then you can decide if you see yourself leading other people, managing other people. This is great, right? But for teamwork and for your comfortable work conditions, you have to practice self-leadership, definitely. And how to actually practice self-leadership? Maybe you have any thoughts. How can you practice self-leadership? What can you do? All right, so I have some ideas for you. In order to be a good leader for yourself, you have to always own your tasks, and you have to communicate transparently about your tasks, your progress. If you can't make it on time, if you can't meet the deadline, you have to communicate transparently about this. You have to inform everyone, because this is also a question of trust, like for me personally, but only for me, for everyone technically. If something doesn't go well and you don't inform your team or your management about it, this is the worst, because then the trust is going to be lost here. So you need to own your task, right? And like I said, if you can't complete something on time, can't meet the deadline, you have to communicate it transparently. Don't hold it to yourself technically, right? Because it's going to be even worse. Okay, Ricky says here, self-leadership to me means taking the first step. Stepping up to do something before others may decide to do so. Yeah, this is about being responsible, definitely. Yeah, being initiative, I would say in this case, right? You are showing initiative. And yeah, definitely. Maybe even I see here a combination of self-leadership, but also leadership in general, because if you're taking the first step, who is usually taking the first step? The person who wants to lead, right? So if you're showing initiative, this definitely shows your leadership skill, right? Whether it's self-leadership, but here I also see that this is just pure leadership. Like you want to lead the group of people, you want to lead other people, which is great. Go for it, Ricky, go for it. Another way to practice self-leadership is committing to lifelong learning. Like I said, the moment you think that you know everything, it means that you don't know nothing, right? Because especially in our fast-paced world, everything changes so fast. Like 2021, I was learning about Web3 and blockchain from scratch. 2023, we're like 2024, we live in a different era completely. So things are changing. Like 2022, we have AI boom, and you have to learn that. So you have to be a constant learner and commit to it. Learning something new all the time. By the way, interesting statistics that I shared today on my social media. How much time do you think successful people spend learning something? I'm curious if you know. They learn all the time, forever. Okay, that's okay. How many hours a week do you think they spend learning something? Or how many hours a week do we have to spend learning something, like a skill or something new? If you have ever heard about the rule of 5, so it's 5 hours, 1 hour per day. Yeah, so it's 5 hours out of like our 5-day working week. We technically have to allow at least 5 hours a week. So we take it 1 hour a day, learning a new skill, or I don't know, learning something, upgrading ourselves, self-development and things like that. So this is your task after this webinar. I want you to block 1 hour on your calendar. I have it blocked in the very early morning. Block 1 hour on your calendar for learning something, either per day, 1 hour per day, correct. 1 hour per day. It can be your learning, whatever you're learning, a new skill or upgrading a skill, whatever it is. Like I said, for me, I do it 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning. This is when I do my self-development. Like I read the book, I do journaling, and things like that. Of course, if I want to take some course, like let's say a course, there are certain times, so I'll be in this course too. But regardless whether I'm taking any courses, I'm taking any programs, I always have this 1 hour blocked on my calendar, and it's just there. and I just pick the activity that I want to do in this 1 hour. And this is activity on my self-development, right? So I highly recommend you do that. This will definitely help you also practice power skills, because for me, this is the time when I practice my power skills. Like, I first of all, I'm practicing my discipline, right? I never skip it. So like, I made myself a promise, like I never skip it, no matter what. I wake up and this is what I do. So that's like something for you. Great lesson. I will practice this form now. Absolutely. Go for it. And that's statistics, and all the successful people, they're successful for a reason. And you can be one of them too. Now, let's talk a little bit more about how to practice power skills. Another interesting statistics here I found for you. 80% of career success comes from soft skills. And like I said, if you join the webinar later, like I said, your employer will pick you over someone, will pick you who has higher level of soft skills over someone who has lower level of soft skills but higher hard skills. So if you are not confident about your coding skills, your hard skills, complement that with your soft skills, and you will definitely get the job that you want, get your first job or second job or better job, right? Because like I said, at the end of the day, every employer understands that you will have to learn, you will have to upgrade your hard skills all the time. You can't be using your hard skill set with every new job you're going to get. You will have to learn, because every project is different, technology is different, the team is different. So they understand that you will need to learn. But how will they know that you can learn? Your coachability. You have to show them that you are coachable. You have to show them that you can adapt to changes quickly. You have to show, in the job interview, you have to show them all these power skills that they're looking for. And actually all the power skills that I have talked about today, like being a leader to yourself, right? Show them that you practice self-leadership. Show them that you're coachable, and that's it. And even in a job interview, let's say in a technical interview, they ask you a technical question that you don't know. It happens all the time. What are you going to do? Are you going to get salty and start crying? No. Instead, you can use your power skill and explain to them that you are a fast learner. You can give them examples. It's not enough to say, I'm a fast learner, by the way. You have to give situational examples, behavioral examples, right? So you can say, I'm a fast learner. There was this time when I joined the project and I was able to learn this new technology needed for the project in 2 weeks. And this is what I did. So if your answer is like this, your hiring manager will understand that you are truly coachable, and no challenge is a big challenge for you, So definitely complement your hard skills with soft skills and you will get what you want. So what's the best way for you to practice power skills, to practice soft skills? And I know that you want to become a professional that everyone wants to work with. So how do you do this? What's your plan after today's webinar? Smile and practice small talk. I love this. I love this. Yeah, smile always helps, right? How are you going to practice small talk? Networking and interacting with other people. Great. So Miguel, for you, are you going to go to a networking event this week and interact with other people? This is a great idea, but what's the action item? So these are great ideas. Action items now. So this is what you need to do. We all have these brilliant ideas, but when it comes to execution, this is where everything stops, right? So I like all of your suggestions. Smile and practice small talk. When are you going to do it? In the next meeting. So mental reminder, or put it on the piece of paper. Next time I have a meeting, I will remember to smile. I'll remember. So like put it like literally put it on a piece of paper in front of you. So next time I have a meeting, I remember to smile and ask this question to strike up a conversation, to strike up small talk. Miguel, networking and interacting. Do you know which event you're going next this week? What is it going to be? Miami Tech Happy Hour or whatever other happy hour where you can talk to people? Do you have your personal elevator pitch ready? When they ask you, so Miguel, what do you do? Tell me about yourself. What are you going to say? Right? So you already have the formula for that. So you're definitely prepared. Adnal says, throw yourself into the fray. What do you mean? How are you going to do it? Be very specific. Remember that whenever you want to do something, you have to set a SMART goal for that. SMART, S-M-A-R-T, right? It has to be very specific. SMART, right? Let me see if I can remember it. SMART, S, specific, measurable, realistic, achievable, and timely, right? So make your goals, make your idea, like turn your ideas into goals and execute on them. I'm going to block 1 hour for self-improvement. I love this. This is my favorite. Everything, by the way, guys, put everything on your calendar. Then your life becomes completely different. It becomes organized. It becomes structured. And all of a sudden, miraculously, you realize you have more time in the day now, because until things are on your calendar, you don't have time to do anything. You're like, oh my God, I'm swamped. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to read this book. I don't have time to take a course. I don't have time for anything. This is like one of the biggest excuses that people have. Okay, there are two excuses. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. But these are just excuses, right? Because in reality, you don't have the priority. If your priority is something, you'll find the time, you'll find the resources. But time-wise, I'm telling you, using your Google Calendar for everything, even for your personal things like blocking the time for self-development, this is a game changer. And believe it or not, like I said, you will definitely realize that you have more time. Networking for Joanne too. Sure, tomorrow. Miguel is going to a networking event tomorrow. I love this. Ricky, continue to be a great listener, communicate effectively, and work on becoming a better team player. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, I'm ready to wrap it up. The only thing I wanted to share with you, I do have a course that is called Power Skills for Tech, and I do want you to listen to my podcast on power skills as well. You will find a lot of interesting information and will be able to improve your power skills. And regarding the power skills course, Power Skills for Tech, this is a self-paced course that you can take, at your convenience. It's 6 weeks. I have videos there that I recorded for you to practice core 6 power skills that we talked about today. The cool thing about this course and the cool thing about my teaching is I use bite-sized learning technique. It means that all my videos are super short. Well, I mean, super short. They are between 5 to 15 minutes, so that I believe that people, don't have hours to learn. For example, I really want you to squeeze my course in your 1 hour that you blocked on your calendar for self-development, but you want to do other things beside the course, so that is why you can watch my video, which is 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and you're done with your self-development here. I mean, with your power skill, and the 1 hour is enough. So this is the perk that I love giving my clients who come to learn from me. And a little bit about the course. You will get, like I said, video and audio content in the course. It's all based on real cases and examples. You will have online coaching. All the tasks are all the tasks in the course, they are structured in the way that they coach you, like from the coach, and you will also receive feedback from our online coach and me as well. It's all custom tailored material, so it's all brand new. And like I said, you will be able to improve your communication skills, coachability and feedback, emotional intelligence and empathy, cultural affinity, leadership and teamwork, and also bonus module that we have here, job interview preparation, how to prepare for a job interview, what skills you need to practice, how to tailor a CV and cover letter. And I included several lessons on AI prompting. So so the course is on the convenient platform, and you will get a certificate of completion that you can share on LinkedIn and show off in front of your colleagues and potential employers, to show that you have high level of power skills. By the way, this certificate is blockchain verified, so you will be able to interact with our blockchain technology and see how blockchain works for credentials. And yeah, you will become part of our community. I will be happy to stay in touch. I can see you asking me for my social medias. I will share it in a minute as well. In the meantime, I'm happy to offer you a 50% off. If you join the course today, just use the promo code POWER50, and here is a link to the course if you're interested. And here are my socials. Here's my LinkedIn and Twitter. Be my guest. And my Instagram, just a sec. Yeah, so happy to chat afterwards. Whenever you have questions, I'm here. And just let me know if you have any questions. And in the meantime, invest in yourself. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about time, most importantly. Time is what we need to start investing in ourselves more, because I feel that, and that's the power skill that we need to practice, right? Putting ourselves first and investing time in ourselves, because we tend to have time for everything and everyone else, but do we really have enough time for what we need and for what we want? So that's why in blocking that time on the calendar to have that extra thinking time. What do I really want? What is important for me? Am I like going the right direction? That's really important. So make the best investment this year. Invest in yourself, and monetize on your investment, because when you invest in yourself, time, money, material, it doesn't matter. You can always monetize, because you will be a valuable asset for other people too. Thank you so much. I see Alyssa is here. Oh my God, I don't think we can hear you, Alyssa.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, that button gets pressed sometimes, but I really, really like this event a lot. One of my New Year's resolutions was more like self-improvement and spending more time for myself, like you said. So many things that you touched on today. I'm sure you saw me here in the chat, like responding to your questions. I thought it was really, really interesting. So thank you for coming. Thank you for doing this event. I'm going to tell people to watch it on YouTube if they didn't make it today, and promote it from my end. But I really, really enjoyed it and learned a lot. So thank you.
I loved it. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Yeah, guys. And of course, please share with me your feedback. You can find me now on social media, something that you enjoyed, something that you thought could be improved. I'll be happy to hear it. I'm ready for negative feedback too. Like I said, thank you so much. Hopefully we can do another self-development webinar sometime soon, and see where we progress too. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming, Anna. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks.
Have a great night, everybody. Good night.